Hello, everybody. Welcome to week 2 with Mr. A. We are in your ELA, English Language Arts, and we are going to read a book called Lily Takes a Walk. In this book, I'm going to read it first. I'm not going to tell you really anything, and we're going to go back through, and I want you to kind of see some things that maybe you missed in the beginning. And then we'll talk about what we're going to do for our activity. And our activity is going to lead into our family activity and our seed activity and actually science. So we're going to have a whole theme. I might be able to spill it into math. We'll see. But we're going to read Lily Takes a Walk. So I'm just going to read it to you and show the pictures, and then we'll go back through the pictures, and I'm going to tell you what we're looking for. All right. I actually got this book for my 6th birthday. Some of you might be 6 right now. Lily Takes a Walk by Satoshi Kitamura. So right now we're not sure who Lily is, because the book's called Lily Takes a Walk, but we see a person and a dog. So the dog could be going for a walk, or the person could be going for a walk. So we'll have to find out who is who. Lily likes going for walks with her dog, Nicky. There we go. Now we just found out. We found out our 2 main characters. We have Lily and Nicky. And I really like the drawings because it looks like something I might be able to draw. Sometimes they walk for hours and hours until the sun starts to slip down behind the hill. Even when it begins to get dark, Lily is never scared because Nicky is there with her. Today, on the way home, she does the shopping for her mother. Then she stops for a moment to look at the evening star. Look, Nicky, she says, that's called the dog star. There is actually something called the dog star. The real name for it is Sirius, and that has something to do with what our activity is going to be. As Lily walks past Mrs. Hall's window, she waves. Oh, not high enough. Bats flitter and swoop in the evening sky. Aren't they clever, Nicky? Says Lily. Not far now. I'm gonna hold it up higher for you. She stops by the bridge to say goodnight to the gulls and the ducks on the canal. At last, she comes to her own corner. This is the best moment of all. She can see the light in her window and smell her supper cooking. So if we think about what this page says, she can see the light in her window. So her window either is this one or this one. She can smell her supper. So the light is on. We're not sure which one is hers. Lily's mother and father always like to hear what she has seen on her walks. Before long, it is time for bed. Nicky is already in his basket. We had a good walk today, didn't we? Says Lily. Good night, Nicky. Sleep tight. Nicky looks ready for bed. Oh, and there's a little other part. So he was asleep, and then he saw some mice. All right, so what we're going to do, we're going to go back through that book. And there's some little things that maybe you didn't catch the first time that Lily definitely didn't see, but Nicky saw. So if we go to even just the first or the second page, Lily has her eyes forward, and Nicky is going to the bathroom and also sees a snake. That is my least favorite animal. On the next page, Lily's walking forward, and Nicky's looking back, and he sees a monster in the trees. What does he see next? He sees a trash can monster. And then I like this one. Do you see what he sees back here? It looks like a face with the street lights. And he looks pretty scared or surprised. This one's another good one. Another face in the street lights way up here. This one's pretty easy to see. We have a guy coming out of the window. And I don't know if you'd ever see a monster coming out of the canal, but this dog might have a wild imagination. It looks like he's got a pretty wild imagination there. So while they're talking about what she has seen on her walk, he is thinking about all of the things that he saw on his walk. And he looks like he really wants to tell people about it. And then if you caught, did you take a look and see what was on her quilt? Her name is Lily, and it's all her name on her quilt. So what we're going to do is what I would like you to do. You have two things that we're going to do, and we're going to talk about all of them. The first one, if you want to, you can draw a picture, and I want you to try to hide something in that picture that somebody might not see right away that they would really have to pay attention to. And I'll give you an example. So I like to draw. So I drew my little picture here, and I drew a house and a little road leading up to the house and some water and some trees and some birds flying around. But up here, I made the birds hopefully kind of look like a face. So there's a lot of birds right here, and then one in the middle for a nose, and then two other big birds for the eyes, and then some dark clouds up here. So I kind of hit a little face that you might not see, but it should be pretty obvious. So I have my little face of birds up here. So what I want you to do, just for fun, is to see if you can find a regular, normal object that you can kind of create something new out of. Like she took a trash can, the illustrator took a trash can and made it into a monster, and she did that on a couple pages. And some things that our main character just didn't notice. The other thing I want us to do is think about the dog star called Sirius. So what we're going to do is we are going to talk a little bit more about constellations. So we're going to talk about constellations in your family activity and your science activity. So when you get there, we're going to talk about Sirius, the dog star that we talked about in here. But our activity for Lily Takes a Walk, I'm going to share my screen, and we're going to talk about planning some writing. So let's go here. Let's play it. So here's what you're going to see. I'm going to put this in the link for under the YouTube video. So it should be down here if I'm doing this right, hopefully. I think I did it right last time. And you can print it out if you want to, or you can just use it to help you. So what I want to do, we're going to plan our writing for this week. And we're only going to write about 2 sentences. You can write more if you want. You can write a whole story and tell it on Flipgrid. That would be super cool. So in order to write, sometimes we have to plan what we want to write about. That usually helps us. So I gave you some starter things. So at the top, it says, I'm going to write about. And you can write about anything you want. So if you want to write about a trash can that turns into a monster, you would say, I'm going to write about a trash can. And that's all I need to know right away. So I want to know why you picked it. You could write about a basketball. You could write about a baseball. You could write about a dog. You could write about anything you want. But I want to know why you picked it. And that might help you with your writing, is thinking about why you picked it. So you're going to tell me what you're going to write about. You're going to tell me why you picked it. The next one, you're going to tell me 2 describing words. So when you go to write your sentences, I want 2 describing words about that. So you can use color words. You can use size words. You can use any kind of word that might help your reader or your audience visualize what you're talking about, or kind of see in their mind what you're talking about. Then after that, I want you to use your describing words to tell me about your object. So put it into a couple sentences. You can say, my big, ugly, smelly trash can only comes alive at night when people throw McDonald's wrappers into it. So I used big, ugly, smelly. I told them about the trash can. I said that it comes alive, and I told you that it comes alive at night. So I described a lot of different things about this trash can, and I totally made that up, which is, I would love for you to do that. Be as creative as you want. So you can write those 2 sentences, and then you can draw a picture. And I want you to use that picture to tell us a story. And you don't have to write your whole story. Sometimes it's cool to just to write a couple sentences and then just start telling a story. So you have a minute and a half on your Flipgrid videos. If you want to tell us a story about an object, a regular, normal object that you see every day, that you made into something else, that would be super cool. And then you can show us your picture. So remember, my Flipgrid code is my last name, Andrelzik, and then 5225. So it should be up. I think a lot of you guys were getting it really well. I will post that in the link, or in the at the bottom on the comments too. Andrelzik 5225. So you're going to tell me what you're writing about, tell me why you're writing about it, give me some describing words, and it can be more than 2 describing words. And then you're going to write a couple sentences for me about your object. And then you can tell a story on Flipgrid if you want. So I could show, like I said, I have mine already right here. I could say I wrote about birds, but I could do a different one. I might do a different one too and upload that to Flipgrid. So, and that's what we're going to talk about when we get to science too, because we're going to talk about the constellations and how they're just stars that people kind of looked up and made something completely different from just looking at stars. They made different objects, and we'll learn a little bit more about constellations. So I will see you in one of those other videos, hopefully, and I hope you have an awesome day. All right, see you guys.